Lord Sumption, at what point does the lockdown, in a sense, get worse than the virus? Good morning.
I think it reached that point quite a long time ago. I mean, the current problem is about variants, but variants have always been a problem about viruses. They spontaneously mutate, and this is going to happen. We're not just concerned with the South African variant. There will be many other variants, and unless we lock ourselves down forever, this is something we are simply going to have to live with.
There is a suggestion that occasionally, to talk about another sport, goalposts are being moved. Initially we had to save the NHS, then we had to get the number of deaths down. Jeremy Hunt now would say that he wants cases below, he's of course the chairs the Health Select Committee, former Health Secretary, he wants cases below 1,000. Lord Sumption.
Well, that seems to me to be an absurdity. We can't have zero COVID. There has never been there have only, as I think the WHO says, there's only been 2 cases in which an infectious disease has been eradicated entirely or virtually entirely. Smallpox took 2 centuries after the invention of a totally effective vaccine to disappear. Simply saying that we want to eliminate the virus altogether or to reduce it below 1,000 cases, I think, is a completely unbalanced and fanatical approach. The cost of this has got to be remembered. The cost not just in economic terms, but in human terms. You may have noticed an interesting article by the writer Linda Kemkaran recently, in which she pointed out that her mother had recently died at the age of 74 of a stroke and got COVID in hospital after the stroke. The point that she was making is that her life should have been full of joy, of grandchildren, of meeting people and of stimulation, instead of which her last year was spent in utter wretchedness and misery, isolated from everything, alone. Now that is an inhuman story. It's being repeated millions of times around the country. The policy of lockdown is a thoroughly inhumane policy, which is due to one-track minds that can only think about deaths and not about life.
And lastly, Lord Sumption, those who say, but it has saved lives, it has kept the death toll down, it has meant that our hospitals were not overwhelmed, and it is desperately unfortunate, but that's the price that had to be paid. How would you respond?
I think that it has probably saved some lives in the last 3 months. I don't believe it saved any last year. It simply deferred them to a later period. But I don't think that the lives that have been saved warrant the staggering collateral damage and utter misery inflicted on millions and millions of healthy people.